Come share the great outdoors with Rex, he'll show you how it's done. When he throws a line in, the adventure's just begun. Friendly faces, special places, tips that never fail ya. Come with Rex, hunt, fishing, Australia. Out on the mighty ocean, a secluded bay somewhere. When and where they're biting, you can bet you'll find Rex there. All is quiet and peaceful, then you hear that famous crack.
Absolutely magnificent. Will you take a look at that?
The latest gaff on tackle, how it works and why. Stories of the ones that got away in days gone by. Friendly faces, special places, tips that never fail ya. Come with Rex, hunt, fishing, Australia.
G'day folks. From a windswept New South Wales south coast, we welcome you to Rex Hunt Fishing Australia. Now, by popular demand, yes, your phone calls, letters and faxes, we revisit the end of Rottnest Island to check out that marvellous dolphin fishery off the coast of Perth. We also go to southern Queensland tonight with David Green to check out a new bass fishery. And Steve Starling joins Tim Simpson from The Complete Angler to talk tackle. All that and more tonight on the show, so sit back and enjoy. A little bit of silk here, folks. I wonder whether the Johnny Bertrand, my old sparring partner for Mordialloc High, will be using one of these wing keel jobs in the America's Cup Challenge. This is what it's all about. Just after sunup in Western Australia on Perth's superb Swan River. Now, I'm here at the local yacht club at the express permission of Neil Patrick for a day on the salt and briny on the mighty Indian Ocean. G'day, Neil, good to see you.
Morning, Rex.
Got the crew on board, you got the cook, you got the deckhand, you got the chief cook and bottle washer.
We're going to have a good day, Rex.
A lot of you will remember, Neil, we had a look at his factory in Fremantle. He is the manufacturer of the famous Helco lures. Now, you've got a few of the local product. We're going to try it on some of the local species today.
We sure have. I hope we catch some dolphin fish today, Rex.
To coin a phrase, folks, wagons, ho! Well, I tell you what, I haven't got time to sort of do anything out here, folks. I lost me tit for tat, put on the other one, that's why I bring two. And you just don't go out game fishing and catch fish. There is a reason for everything in fishing. Now, if you're fishing on the end of a pier, you fish around the pylons, because that's the structures that attracts the fish and the feed right from the start. Same as if you fish in the Murray River or the Goulburn River for trout or Murray cod or redfin, you fish around the snags, the fallen trees, because that's where the fish are. It's no good being where the fish ain't. So what do you do on the continental shelf about 20 miles off Perth in Western Australia? You fish on the continental shelf where the currents are coming down from the north. The birds are very, very active here, and that's a good sign. The birds are the telltale sign on the continental shelf. And the FAD, a fish attracting device placed here by the Perth Game Fishing Club, and it attracts beautiful fish like this. You can see the school of fish behind this fish. This is a dolphin fish, not to be confused with a dolphin. This is a dolphin fish, one of the prettiest pelagic species in the ocean and one of the best eating. Now, this is a juvenile, and a very, very nice fish at that. Neil has got the gaff in there, and have a look at that. A lot of you may not have seen these fish, but they are just beautiful. They are pretty active, as you can see. They are one of the pretty fish of the sea, Neil.
They are absolutely beautiful. This is only a very small fish.
Yeah.
But you can see the colour on it.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is absolutely magnificent. Tell us a little bit about the dolphin fish and its habits.
They are the fastest growing fish in the sea, the dolphin fish.
Fastest growing fish in the sea.
There's quite a few around the FADs. They like living underneath structures.
Yeah.
And you see a lump of wood in the water and
yeah.
things. That's a great place to fish with. You can see that colour coming out now, the blues and the yellows. And that's beautiful to eat. That is one of the best fish in the sea to eat.
Fishing's a waiting game and a thinking game. Always be alert, wherever the fishing situation is. That dolphin fish that we just caught regurgitated dozens of these juvenile, what we believe are small dolphin fish. And most fish will eat until they become so sick that they regurgitate everything that they've eaten. And the idea of a lure is to totally represent what they're feeding on. And this Laser Pro has got this bib in the front, and it actually sways from side to side. Gives a beautiful action, and this new shiny finish that Halco have got represents a real good attractant to the lure. The lure that we took the dolphin fish on trolling is a 110 gram trembler. It's full of ball bearings, and you can probably hear it now. It rattles when it goes through the water, and it trembles, and it gives out all of these signs that I'm injured, I'm really scared. And this is what hunters are all about, whether it's tigers in Africa, marlin on the continental shelf, or dolphin fish off Perth. When there's a real action syndrome as far as a wounded fish, bang, they go in and they attack the lure. But it looks like the fish may have gone down for the time being, and it's time now to try something different. What I want to show you now is we're near this fish attracting device. We're going to motor back to the fish attracting device and start a burley trail. Because if you can get a bit of burley in the water and get the fish excited, we're going to have some action like you're going to see coming up in a minute. Okay, 6 kilo gear. Okay, punters, this is what it's all about. Number 20 hook embedded into a Western Australian pilchard. They call them muleys here. So if you ask for a block of pilchard, they don't know what you're talking about. But muleys, that's it. A trace of about 30 pound down to a double and a split ring, and we've got a sinker. That's just to make sure that the bait goes down a bit. And the reason here is because the mutton birds are absolutely ravenous. Now what we do is we just place the whole rig into the water, just like that, turn the ratchet on. We don't want you, mate. We don't want you. Get away from there. That's not for you. Hey, 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 hey. So, look, all I've got is a head there. Now you watch that head. Watch that head. Whoa! He's got it. Now, if there's anything better than that, folks, look at him go. Ripper, ripper, snorter, rooter-rooer. Have a look at this. Pardon me if I get a bit excited, folks, but I know that you people sitting back there in your lounge rooms are going to enjoy this. And the minute that I don't get this real rush of adrenaline, I'm going to give this game away. But to me, oh, this is what Rex Hunt Fishing Australia is all about. You can't get any better than that, folks. A beautiful juvenile dolphin fish on the continental shelf with Neil Patrick. Come across here, Neil. It must be exciting that 1 hour from your back door you've got world-class pelagic game fishing.
It's wonderful, and it's been so good for the game fishing sport. And the ethic of letting them go, and it's developed a hell of a thing in Western Australia.
We've got enough for lunch. I think we might catch a couple off camera, put a tag in them, let them go. But if we all only take what we need for our immediate needs, whether it be mullet, marron, yabbies, western rock lobster, dolphin fish, marlin, the big thing is that this fishing is going to be here forevermore, and it's up to us as anglers, Neil, to pass it on to the next generation.
It sure is, and we want our kids to look after it.
Well, Neil might always be the boss, but I'm always Rex Hunt and he's not. It's time to head to the northern tip of Rottnest Island for the seafood luncheon of a lifetime.
Oh, I tell you what, it's cold in there. This is an ice slurry. It's just simply ice and a bit of salt water. And what the salt water does is drag the temperature of the ice down even further than freezing point. This is probably about -2 or -3 degrees in here now. I can tell you, it's cold putting your hands in there. These fish have been in there for a couple of hours. They've still got their colours. It works fantastically, this slurry. I really suggest you try it for yourself. You just get a foam box or a fish box, something insulated with a lid on it, put some ice in it, some salt water. You fish straight into it when you catch them. It kills the fish and anaesthetises them and kills them quite humanely, and it looks after them like nothing else can. You pay so much money to go fishing. You spend all that money on your gear, your bait, your boat and everything else. Don't you owe it to yourself to look after your catch. Look after them this way and you will never eat better seafood.
G'day folks, another day in paradise. Magnificent Australia, isn't it? Today, I've had an invitation from a friend of mine, Dr. David Green of Fishing World magazine, to fish a special dam out of the Gold Coast town of Surfers Paradise. And Greenie, this is Hinze Dam, and the old fella up above would be pretty proud of what's here today.
Yes, Rex. 2 years ago there were no fish here apart from a few catfish, and through the work of a lot of interested and keen locals, the crop's ready to be harvested, and we've got a good little fishing spot that's come out of nothing.
Well, what about an invitation like that, folks? I can't wait to see what this dam holds in store for us. My main concern at this stage, and no smart comments about Daniel Boone or Deliverance, is to make sure I'm going to get back here safely. I know, Greenie, the elephant boards the little boat, and here we go. Thank you very much. Get him out of the weed?
No,
No?
he's got in the weed and got off. Oh no, we have him.
Good man. Now, this will be an Australian bass, will it?
Yes.
Oh, nice looking fish. Native to Australia?
It's a native to Australia,
Yeah.
but not native to the Hinze Dam.
Yeah. So they've been artificially introduced. How old this fish?
This fish is about 2 years old,
Gee.
and you can see he's fat in the guts, thick through. He'd weigh about twice as much for his age as a wild fish, sort of from an average river.
I said that he's been in a pretty good paddock.
Yeah, he's been in a good paddock, and if the paddock keeps to feed him like this, he'll be about 3 times this size in another 2 years.
One of the big things with catch and release is to be able to release a fish back into the wild so that it has got an above average chance of survival. And that's why Greenie is handling this with kid gloves, just like he'd sew up someone at an accident scene. This guy, we might see him on Rex Hunt's Fishing Australia in a few years' time. He might be as long as this canoe, mate.
Well, he may well be as long as this canoe, and we'll need a bigger canoe if we're going to catch him.
And to guarantee that we're going to see him again, mate, don't let him go like that. You've got to give him a kiss on national television. Come on, I know Kerry won't get upset.
I'll do it with this, but I won't do it with a mackerel.
Thank you very much. Give it the big smooch. Good on your kids, they are.
And there he goes.
Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just magnificent? And you know, whether it's a barramundi or a mullet, I still put this to you. A fish is just too good to catch once.
Well, let's get another one.
The gear that I prefer to troll these southern Queensland impoundments is pretty simple. They're called overhead outfits for sport fishing. Now this is a little Shimano Bass 1, and it's with 4 kilo line. The line is fluorescent yellow. Now there's no reason why the line should be yellow because it doesn't attract the fish. But with the white line on the other side, the pre-test line, I can then see which way the yellow line is going into the water and which way the white line, and I know what lure's on each. Now the lures are the bib type. This is a stump jumper. This is the one with the removable bib. Now the bib here is fluorescent orange, and that becomes part of the attractant of the lure. This other little one has got the lure horizontal to the eyes on the end of the lure head, and it goes very, very deep. But the most important thing in trolling is to give the fish a chance to make a selection. Put one deep, well out and one back, put one in close. Understand that the weed comes off the bottom and so do the twigs and the sticks, and it's no good being where the football ain't to get a kick. It's no good being where the fish ain't to catch a fish in this impoundment. Mate, he grabbed that like, and you know when he grabbed it is when you gave the motor a little bit of a burst. And perhaps, folks, this is a good lesson that if you're casting from the shore, you wind quickly and then stop the lure. And as the lure stops and then starts again, the fish will eyeball it and he'll grab it. And this is probably what happened when Greenie's got the little electric motor and given it a bit of a brrr, bit of a burst. Bang! There was no tomorrow.
Oh.
And this is a nice little bass. He's taken the stump jumper, and this is probably a different liberation, Greenie, than the one we got just previous.
Yeah, I think this one is a younger brother of the previous one, and he's probably a bit over a year old in the dam.
Yeah.
So that he'll look like the last one we had in another 12 months' time. So do the honours.
They're like me, mate. They've been in a pretty good paddock, haven't they? They are. An Australian bass. A beautiful native fish in Australia, not starting off its life in the wild, but starting off the life in a hatchery, being put into a man-made impoundment, and surely this is what it's all about. Construction of dams and progress, marrying in beautifully with the environment. Now, Greenie, what other species are likely to be in these waters?
Well, most of the others that are in here are still too small to catch, but there's 250,000 fish being released in this dam, and they're bass, like you just caught, yellow belly, silver perch, and Mary River cod.
Yeah.
And there's also catfish that are indigenous and found here normally. But what we're looking at is a gold mine in probably another year's time.
Talking about a gold mine, it's great to be with Dr. David Green, who is on the basic wage because he can't afford a tackle box. Have a look at that hat, folks. If anyone's got an old tackle box, do him a favour and send him one, will you?
Just keep piling her on, mate, I'll tell you when. Well, I'm out here on the Tasman Venture with Lloyd Burgess, the owner-skipper, and what we've done is we've slept on the boat and run through the night, and we're up near the northern end of Fraser Island at the moment. We're going to have breakfast and then sneak out around the corner and see what we can catch. That'll probably do, mate. Just throw an egg on top of that lot. Beautiful. Got to start the day with a hearty breakfast. Captain's log, Tasman Venture 2, stardate 23rd of the 3rd, 01. We're about to venture where few men have ever travelled. Well, actually, just around the northern end of Fraser Island, but it's pretty exciting stuff. OK, Scotty, give her all she's got.
Okay, Dan, the best way to do this, mate, is to leave a bit of a tag at the end of your bait so that you get a bit of movement when the bait's in the water. So if you put your hook sort of one end so that you've got a loose bit, most of the fish that we get in the deeper water seem to be attracted to a bit of movement in their bait, like pearl perch and snapper and red emperor and the like. So something like that tends to work best. I'm on.
Oh, mate, it's not a happy fish. It's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming straight up the surface. I don't know what it is.
So, Stu, how long have you been decking on the Tasman Venture?
About 2 years now. Whoa, where are we off to?
Well, let him go if he
I
wants
think
to.
she might be a little pelagic of some description.
You've got a missing guide there too. You'll enjoy catching a fish even after sort of watching other people catch them for years and sorting out their tangles and everything?
Yeah, mate, yeah, I still enjoy it. I don't do a lot of it.
Must be hectic when you've got a dozen anglers on board and they're not experienced and they're getting tangles and everything.
Yeah, it can be fairly traumatic. Lloyd's always down here giving me a hand, but the guys have no idea. Some of them are all right.
Oh,
it just varies.
I think you've got yourself a nice... Is that yours? No. There's fish coming up everywhere here. You get a real mixed bag out here, don't you?
Yeah, especially in the shallower water. In the deeper water, it tends to be, you know, one species stuff, but in the shallow stuff, you tend to get a mix.
Right.
A little red.
Oh, it's two, actually. It's a parrot and a red. All right, swing them over here and I'll get them up for you. A nice little red emperor on the top hook and a lovely parrotfish on the bottom hook. Look at that. That's only a juvenile red emperor, but a pretty fish all the same. These would be one of my absolute favourite eating fish, these guys. Is that big enough for you to keep, or do you usually put them back at that size?
He's definitely a homer.
He's a go-homer?
Yep.
Well, now, the nice thing about these tuna circle hooks is it's always a mouth hook up and it comes out just like that so easily. And because we caught this fish out of fairly shallow water, no problems. It spears back to the bottom. This one is not a go-homer. This is one of the local parrotfish, which is actually in the tusk fish family. And if you have a look in his mouth there, you'll see why they call them tusk fish, because they do have these little canine-type teeth that they use to crush crustaceans, things like crabs and so forth, and crunch into coral and get at various bits and pieces. In fact, you can see some stuff coming out of his gills there, which is actually chewed up shellfish and coral from down on the reef. You can look at that, you can actually see some little small shellfish there, and that's a good indication of the diet of these parrotfish or tuskfish. And these have beautiful white flesh, don't they?
Yeah, beautiful eating.
Are you you're a fan of the parrots yourself?
Yeah, one of my favourite fish, especially poached in wine and cream with a few grapes
Don't
and
tell me
a
you
bit
can
of dill.
cook as well. You can cook as well, can you, mate?
Yeah, I can cook okay.
Are you married?
No, I'm engaged, as a matter of
Gee,
fact.
that's even worse. So do you get into strife for coming out fishing all the time, even though it's your job?
Sometimes. She gets a bit lonely at home by herself.
You've seen that movie, The Perfect Storm? Well, I think they shot it right here. And believe it or not, we're moving into even deeper water. We started in 108 metres, now we're out in some bottomless stuff. I found myself a couple of little sinkers. I reckon these will be perfect. Oh, I tell you what, the work of the part-time decky is never done. I'm running around gaffing fish for people, and I'm also putting them here in the brine. What we've got here is super chilled salt water, and the fish goes straight into it. Apart from anything else, it anaesthetises them, puts them to sleep straight away. There's no stress that might damage the flesh, and it keeps them very, very cold. And I'll pull one out that's been in there for a little while. It's not quite cold enough to freeze them, but it's chilled them right through to the core, keeps the colours and keeps the flesh in absolute immaculate condition for the table tonight.
Whoa, I think I'm on, Steve.
What do you reckon it is, Lloyd?
I'd say the way it took the bait, played around with it for a little while. Be a red emperor.
A red emperor?
Maybe.
Hope
Played
so.
around with it for a while and then took off.
They're about my favourite eating fish, I tell you. What do you reckon of them is on the table?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It doesn't look red.
Not red.
Not red.
It's giving up
Looking a bit parroty. Oh, all right, I take it all back. It is red. You were absolutely right. Oh, you'll lift all right. Oh, yes. We got about 6 other lines on there. Come on over the side, fella. That's what we're out here for. Beautiful red emperor. Now, they get to be a couple of times as big as that, but that is definitely a very nice fish, and even better on a plate. Are you winning?
I think so.
Only got about 100 metres to go, mate. I think this is a good fish. Now, if you'd known you were going to do this, you could have got into the gym and pumped a bit of iron for a while.
I don't think I need to, but I'm like this now.
Oh, look at that one. Fell off the gaff, but luckily into the boat.
Wow, I think that's the biggest fish I've ever caught.
I reckon it might be the biggest fish you ever caught. It's probably a bit bigger than some of the carp that you caught out of the ponds back home. That is an absolute ripper of a pearl perch, mate. Oh, have you had a good time?
I've had a fantastic time, thanks.
Well, listen, I've had a good time gaffing everyone's fish for them too. We've had an absolute ball out here. The weather's done everything, 4 seasons in a day. It's rained on us, the sun's come out and burnt us, and we've caught fish like this. You've got to be happy with that. The Kondari Resort has cooked these fish up an absolute treat. Now, I've got to admit that I didn't catch this red emperor or this pearl perch, but I'm going to eat them. And hopefully
G'day, folks.
before Rex
I'm Rex
gets
Hunt,
here.
and thanks for tuning the dial. Sit back and relax. Hey, let's do a bit of fishing together. Look at that! The old bearded birdler, he's in his element.
Throw it into his mouth.
Unbelievable, mate.
It's just like nature. It's what we're all about.
I tell you what,
This is just fantastic.
Wagons, ho! Oh, thank your mother for the rabbits. Just when they think it's safe to come out, unbelievable! Bang!
I guess in the end, that's probably why we all go fishing.
you go, Tom?
I've got something on.
Have you? Good man, so have I. Look at the bottom.
Felt like a whiting the way it bit.
A whiting? Wow.
It felt like a whiting, and it's swimming like a whiting.
Oh, mine's a rubbish fish. Well, it's not actually a rubbish fish, folks. It's actually,
told you to get a whiting.
Call them a rock cod. And look at yours, it's a whiting. What a magnificent start to a fantastic day. I tell you what,
Said that right in the tide
Tom,
change.
you are an absolute legend, aren't you? There's no doubt about that.
Nice fish.
Hey folks, today we're out at the Sir Joseph Banks group of islands, say midway between Port Lincoln and Tumby Bay, down near the Eyre Peninsula in South Australia. Put him in there, Tommy boy. And this is a local legend. If you ever want to know what a local legend is, Tom Tierney from Tumby Bay is a legend. You not only play for the local footy seconds at 53 years of age, you love it out round here. What's the great attraction to this particular group of islands?
Well, I just like fishing mainly, but I come out here mainly to fish for whiting.
Yep.
It's just a beautiful spot to be. We camp overnight, beautiful sandy beaches, just an absolutely fantastic place to be.
Now, you and your lovely wife Judy settled here many, many years ago. Why Tumby Bay?
I came here in the bank, Rex,
Yep.
and I liked the place so much. I was sick of shifting around, had the opportunity to get into the shop, and been there ever since.
Well, I thought he was going to say like Victor Kiam. He liked the place that much he bought it, but he's the bank manager, so what do you expect? Let's do a bit of fishing. I tell you what, here's our mate Jeffrey. G'day, Jeff. I tell you what, we're going to have a great time here today, folks. Let a little bit out and see how we go with that. Should be almost instant because I saw a snook and a sweep and a few tommies down there. We're getting absolutely, oh gee, whatever, grab that, cleaned up by all the rubbish here. And this is a fair chance it's either going to be a sweep or a snook. It's a lovely snook. Have a look at that, Tommy. Is that a nice fish?
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Look at that on light gear. Wow. He came up Tommy's burley trail.
Nice
And
to
the
come
old
around
onion bag's working a treat. Look at this. Wow, what a beautiful fish. Wow, and he bit me off. So there you are. There's a little bit of a lesson. Tommy and I just doing a little few things different and put on a small sort of white bait sardine, let it drift down naturally and bang. I might put on a heavier trace and see how we go, folks. But it's starting to happen here. We're in a bit of trouble early because the tide just wouldn't get a bit of a gallop up. We've got some fish in the trail and let's do some fishing together.
Yep.
Good on you, Tom.
Only a little one.
Little snook?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Only a baby.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Are they pretty prolific in this sort of area?
Yeah, at times, probably another month's time, they'll be a lot better towards Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only pretty small. A lot of them here, like 2-3 kilo.
Are they really? Yeah. And all right on the dinner plate?
Yeah, I like them smoked.
Yeah.
But they're not a fish that keeps well, I don't think.
Yeah.
Their flesh is a bit soft, but fresh, they're really nice.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, what a nice fish.
We don't want him, do we?
No, we can give him a kiss and put him back. Oh, look at that. Well, I'm going to take my whiting rig off because we're getting cleaned up there at 1,000,000 miles an hour by what Tom calls a rock cod. We call them parrotfish. They're all those wrasse species that live around the reef and the weed. Now, we're going to put a bit of a burley trail in, which is starting to work for us. And I'll just put a single pilchard over the side like that, just to sort of give him a bit of a taste. I've got a 4-0 hook that I'm going to tie onto this line. The line is around about 4 kilos, so it's going to be pretty light, and if I get a fish on, he might actually get off. But we'll just tie it on there like that, and put the pilchard on sort of, I'll just go through the tail and bring it down through the head just like that, and just let it out the back, as if it's just going down. Half hitch around the tail, just like that. And there's our bait, and what I might do first up is just throw that one in, and then throw the next one in after it, and see if it goes off. I've got a feeling something might actually happen here. We'll send him out there with the others. This is a few fish in the trail. Good fun coming to different areas and fishing with various people who can sort of enhance your fishing ability. It's pretty good stuff. The Tommy Roughs here are thick as thieves. I tell you what, they're thicker than George Foreman's ear when he got belted by Muhammad Ali. I tell you what, these should be very, very good bait because they've come up the burley trail, and what we've got is other fish coming in behind them. But have a look at that, a dirty, great big piece of octopus meant for a snook, and the Tommy Rough grabbed it.
So how about that? I'm going to use him for a bait. So we'll just see how we go with a bit of Tommy Rough for bait. There's a bit of action here. We're going to do all right. Touch, Tommy.
Yep. Got down pretty deep. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Rock cod probably.
I reckon it's a snapper.
Oh,
Look at
undersized
that.
snapper.
Wow.
I do catch snapper here at times. That's why
Do you?
I originally started fishing here.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Interesting tie-up with the dual hook rig. Is that a favourite of yours?
Yeah, I use it just for snapper and snook.
Yeah.
Vary the size of the hook.
Yeah. So you get 2 chances and also prevents you from being bitten off.
Well, in this particular spot, some of these white holes,
Yeah.
I had whole pilchers on and double ganged hooks like that,
Yeah.
snoozed, and I've caught really big whiting, like over a kilo.
Wow.
He's big enough in Victoria, this one, but
Oh, mate. He's on the front page of the Herald Sun.
baby.
Got a bit of fight to him, Tom.
Yeah.
I think it's a snapper.
Another snapper. He's legal, this one.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Well, yeah, he'd be about legal. We'll throw him back anyway. We've got enough snapper. He'd be pretty close to legal. Come on, little fella.
Pretty fish.
Back he goes. Catch him, he's annoying me. Undersized snapper, I think. Could be a undersized snapper. A Victorian snapper.
Well, we'd be quite happy any of these ones you want to sort of let go through through the net and get them out the other side of the border there, mate. I can tell you now.
What are they going to be over there?
Well, they're going to be 27.
Yeah, we'd make
And
that
these
easy.
things, Tommy Roughs, we very rarely see them. Now, there you are. That one there would be...
See if he makes a Victorian size.
Oh, easy, mate. Like he's
34.
34 and he's 4 centimetres under the South Australian limit. Well, there you are, folks. We've had a lovely session with Tumby Tom. And if you see a boat heading around the main area near the pier with Tumby Tom written on it, it's going to be you, Tom. And of course, from an ex-bank manager to the manager with your wife of the food town, it's good to see you got your priorities right, that you go fishing.
Yeah, well, she lets me out now and again.
And when you're not fishing, you're playing on the half-back flank for Tumby seconds.
Back pocket.
Back pocket, eh? Next step, over the fence. But I tell you what, at the wrong side of 50, he's still getting a kick in the local competition. It's been great to see you, Tom. You're a legend. And I tell you what, folks, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, because we've been fishing with a real legend here out of Tumby Bay in South Australia.